My name's Nick McClelland, and I farm here with my family at Lismore in southwest Victoria. We run a combination of sheep, beef cattle and cropping enterprises. The cattle enterprise consists of 180 cow herd of self-replacing Angus. So working in our yards, there's a bit of weighing to make sure that our heifers are on track to meet their minimum weights for joining, and also monitoring the steer weights to make sure they're on track for their required market. Other part of our operation through the yards is AIing, and we've only tackled that for the first time this year as a result of having decent yards to be able to AI in and make that a smooth operation. We're also drafting in the yards pre-sale, weaning, marking and various other activities that are required throughout the year. I bought a crush, a Tapari crush, to go in our old cattle yards, and they were seated in there for about 12 months. And after using that crush, that's when I really realised that we did need new cattle yards to work them not only safely but effectively and efficiently. That's what sort of started our journey looking at new yards, and we looked at a variety of yards. And what led us to the Taparis were the turnaround time was a big influence. There was only a 4-month turnaround at the time from signing the contract through to having the yards delivered, which was pretty incredible at a time when a lot of other companies were pushed out to a 12-month lead time. But also the quality of the build, the hot dip galvanising post-production, that was a major benefit that we saw, particularly in southwest Victoria, where we're in a high rainfall area and steel corrodes quite easily. We've had the yards just a little bit over 12 months now, and that's allowed us to see how they perform throughout the whole year, performing all our operations that we'd carry out over a 12-month period with our cattle. That's been really good the first year. It's been a great experience. We've found that we're able to hold the numbers that we thought we would be able to hold and deal with them quite comfortably in the yards. We never would have attempted to AI cows in our old yards, that we didn't have the space and also the stability of the yards as well to deal with large numbers in a short period of time. So this is the entry point into the yards here, and we've got 2 entry points on the left and the right, and we've divided up our leading yards up accordingly to bring either different mobs in and out of the yards to make that flow nice and smooth. Nice big wide 3-metre gates here, and the catches are really a fantastic feature of the gates. They're easy to open, nicely sprung, and they slam shut really well. One of the other features I like about the gates is these hooks that just hook back to your fence when you've got them open, and you can just hook them up to your fence so the wind's not going to blow them shut as you're bringing cattle up. And it's just a simple feature that saves a lot of headaches. One of the things I guess I had concerns about was the strength of the yards being all bolted onto the concrete with no posts set into the actual ground. But after seeing a set locally that had already been built a few years ago, those reservations were quickly put at rest. As you can see, there's a lot of bracing up above pretty much every gateway, and after having large cows and mobs of cows and calves and weaners in here, we're finding that the yards are any amount strong enough and able to withstand quite a bit of pressure, and that's been really good, and it also makes the construction process so much simpler for our perspective, just being able to lay down one big great slab and then come and have it built in a pretty quick process. I think the build time on these yards was only about 4 days from the building contractor arriving on property to leaving on property, so he got it done pretty quick. So we've got about 5 main working yards here where we can move cattle in and out, draft, do whatever we need to do. The general flow travels sort of in a anti-clockwise direction through into this pen, and then they lead up to the forcing pen through this sloping yard here. There again you can see the wind's wanting to blow the gate closed, so we just use our little hooks here and that stops it. And it's such a simple feature that I absolutely love. And yeah, the cattle flow up here into the forcing pen. We've got our large gate here that swings around to probably close to 300 degrees. And there's actually no need for me to be in the yards here when there's cattle in here. So I can simply be outside the yard here, out of the cattle, and just close this all the way around. So the cattle get pushed up to the race. And up on the walkway here, when they're in the forcing pen, we can move them up the race and push them up accordingly. We find we get about 11 mature cows up the race, which is a 7-panel race. And in the race, we'll do various operations. We'll vaccinate, backline drench, and scan EID tags if we need to. We even doing the AI cedar implants and pulls up the race as well. Yeah, so the catwalk is a really good feature. We used FRP grating, and it's been fantastic. I mean, not only is it nice and wide, so if you've got 2 people working up and down, you can easily get past each other. There's lots of room, but the grating, it's non-slip. It's a nice surface to work on. There's a little bit of give in it, and we find it's absolutely fantastic. You know, so much better than timber, because when timber gets wet, it gets potentially slippery, and this is fantastic to work on, and I'd definitely put it in again if I was going to put in another set of yards. Sliding gates, the backing gates work really well. They just can be used from either outside the yard or from the walkway here, and they're a great feature. And there's another one halfway up the race where we can stop the movement of the cattle. So the inside rail is lower than the outside rail. We find that works quite well when we're vaccinating. It's nice and easy to lean over to the cattle, particularly if we've got, you know, weaner calves in there. We can still reach them quite easily. but it's not so low that cattle will jump out. It's just high enough to prevent them from jumping over the side into with us. But certainly having that outside rail up there is a good guide as well to draw them around the curve and prevent them from wanting to jump out the other side away from us. The plastic panelling on here works really well. It's just creates a blind spot and stops the stock from getting distracted, and just focuses them on going straight up the race and following their mates at the front. I mean, like a lot of cattle yards, the race is incorporated with a lead up to the ramp, and we've got a simple system here. The hook just flicks over to divert the race up to the crush, or conversely loading out cattle up to the race. And I like that because we can actually access this gate from both this side and the outside too. So it's quite simple and works really well. The cattle flow up to the race to the right really well, and also when they're going up the race here, they flow around to the crush well too. Well, with the step ramp, I do like the wood panelling. I find it nice and quiet. I find that both going up and down into trucks, they work really well. They just wander up there quietly. There's no noise compared to metal ramps, and there's not as much slippage as compared with the metal ramp as well. The lead up to the truck with the flat section at the top of the ramp is a nice feature. It just makes it a smooth transition from the truck to the ramp for the cattle, and makes them flow that much nicer. Yeah, so we went with the manual crush with a 3-way draft module at the front, and for us this crush does everything that we need to do, and we felt that this was going to be more than adequate than going up to the next step of air operated or hydraulics, and it's certainly a massive improvement on what we had previously. The gate options we use occasionally, mainly with vaccinating, but we do find the majority of our vaccinating takes place in the race. If we can't get to an animal in the race, we'll generally lock it in the head bale and vaccinate it. And these gates make it quite accessible, and also gives us options for vets to access the animal in whatever way they please. The backing bar, I really like that. I thought that was a really clever design. Most backing bars will just sit in place in the slots, and like these, slide up forward, but often can kick out. On the crush here, we've got this channeling, and the disc here just slides up the channeling and can't be kicked out towards the operator. And I just felt that was such a simple, clever design to what was a little bit of a safety issue, I guess. The cattle-free area is another good feature. Initially I thought it's probably a little bit of a waste of space, but I wouldn't be without it now. We got the concreter to smooth the cattle-free area flat, so there's no ridging in it, and that's been a really good idea too. Tapari gave us the S&T points to be able to map that out, or for the concreter to be able to map that out, and it's just such a nice, nice working area. Yeah, so once we've worked cattle through the crush, let's just say we're weighing and drafting at the same time, we'll have cattle out to the right and maybe cattle straight ahead and out to the left here. There'll probably be a couple of mobs of cattle that just drift straight out into the backyards and straight out into the paddock. But any cattle that we've got to do something else with, we can just easily get to them through the little man gates. The positioning of the man gates is really good. There's options all throughout the yards. We can access the back of the forcing pen through 2 man gates here, and very rarely do we find that we're in a position where we're looking for a man gate to get from A to B throughout the yards. And they've all got the catches on them, like the slam shut catches, like the main gates. One of the features I did like with the actual catches was they're infinitely adjustable. So they've got the nut here on the bolt, and you can adjust the tension or the depth of the pin to exactly where you want it, and it's got longevity about it then. I guess if you're going down the path of investing in new yards, I'd certainly recommend looking at Te Pari. I mean, for me, it was a positive experience, the whole process. The yards themselves and working cattle in the yards, it's absolutely fantastic. I mean, it makes cattle work an absolute pleasure, something I guess I now look forward to, whereas in the past with our old yards, it was a case of, heck, will we get through this job effectively and safely? Now, you know, we've got all sorts of possibilities opening up to us. We're weighing more often, and we're improving our herd through AI too now, which we never had the opportunity of doing in the old yards. So there's spin-off benefits there. Yes, it was a big investment for us, but I guess my only regret now is I didn't do it 5 years ago.